Happy New Year to you all, and it's now time for Doctor Who Sunday. Hello, and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters.
I crown you Queen of the Woke!
Let's chat about it. Please let me know what you think of the Jodie Whittaker story Kerblam in the comment section below. Please do keep it friendly in the chat. I know people have disagreements on this Doctor, and it's completely understandable. Today we are taking a look at Kerblam, which was written by Pete McSay. Wow, we've done a few of his just recently, haven't we? It aired on 18th of November 2018. To vote on the current poll, please head on over to the post page where you can find it after this video. Jodie does not get put to the poll because there's lack of interest, even though people do come in and watch these reviews. The Doctor receives a package of a fez from the Kerblam man. There's also a packing slip inside that says, "Help me, the Doctor, Ryan, Yaz, and Graham go to Kerblam," which is on the planet of Kandoka, and infiltrate the building as new workers. Graham is a cleaner, Yaz is a picker, and the Doctor and Ryan are packers. They establish that the company is 90% robot and 10% people. The Doctor is hoping to find out who sent the message to her via the packing system. She gave Slade a load of jip in a Be Kind lecture, and shortly after they had a temporary power cut. In fact, there have been several power cuts, and they were considered common within the Kerblam company. The Doctor discovers that people are going missing from their jobs and not returning home to their families. Meanwhile, Yaz's new friend Dan has been taken after he volunteered to go down to the area where they are not allowed to go, which no one ever comes back from. Ooh. He was taken by a robot. Yaz discovers he is missing and has to run from the robots herself. Graham asks Charlie, a caretaker, for some help to get to know the layout of the building, and he gives Graham access to the maps. The Doctor discovers that Slade has been keeping tabs on people who have gone missing, and she also needs a base code, so she goes to Twirly, the original system. It gets overloaded and she recharges it. She established that the system has sent out the message itself of "Help me" to her. Kira Arlo has been taken off for the Employee of the Month prize to the Foundation level in Dispatch. Ryan, Yaz, and Charlie go down there after realizing that she is in danger. Kira gets her gift and she pops the bubble wrap and she disintegrates. Charlie knew it was going to happen because he had set up this whole system where he had to put a type of gas or something, I don't know, I don't really care, into the bubble wrap, and it was going to be dispatched to the Kandokians. The Doctor gets Twirly to change the delivery address to the robots themselves to detonate the bubble wrap in Dispatch so that everyone is saved, but Charlie is lost as she teleports everyone out. Oh my goodness, where to begin with this one? I think this is where we start to see the writing beginning to fall apart in the Jodie Whittaker era. This is another one from Pete McSay where, once again, it is man is bad. I think this is a common trope from him. There are good points and bad points. I think it was one of those stories where the concepts are definitely there, but not very well executed. Now, the thing that is correct here is that this is not set on Earth, and where the robot that is set on another planet where the robots are completely taking over the work industry because they are cheaper. They set it on Kandoka, which is very good. A lot of things that have happened in Doctor Who, particularly in recent years, that have been dealing with real world problems are set in the real world, which ideally for Doctor Who should not be something that is a thing. It needs to be removed from reality, or as far from reality as it is possible to do so. Of course, with the Doctor, it is possible to do it, and it is done here. So I approve of that being removed from reality in that sense. It also deals with the idea that robots could perhaps start thinking for themselves, or apparently thinking for themselves In real life, we have seen some very bizarre comments from those types of robots that can be very, very creepy indeed. The story setting in itself is a good idea, although I think it could have benefited much more from the practicality of how the classic era was done. There was quite a lot of wide shots that were most likely filmed on green screen. Should we have had those shots? I don't think we really needed them. I'm not entirely sure that it added to it, but some people will like it, and well, that's okay if you like it. It's absolutely fine. I don't mind. So the concept of the Kerblam man delivery idea, I found a little bit silly. All right, I don't know why. Okay, it just made me laugh, and not for the right reasons at all. That aside, whilst robots are going rogue is not a new idea to Doctor Who. I do like the idea of the robot going rogue, but I wish that could have been followed through on completely instead of making it a Kandokian that was responsible for waging the war against the robots and the planet. I think a better concept is the computer failing to recognize its own problem and its own program, sorry, and begin to attack itself. Although that has been done before as well. Something along those lines, really. I don't like writing it for them though. I just don't buy the idea of the fact that man would lose so much faith in the system that he would use an army of robots that he's corrupted to go off to the population to make them lose faith in the robots. Yes, the message is that people should be working, and I would agree with that message, but we haven't gone about smashing up other robots just because of it. The shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're not that radical. The army of robots should have been introduced a bit earlier as well. I think we should have seen what they were truly dealing with here. I think the pacing is a little bit all over the place. I also think that Slade should have made much, well, he should have had much more of a setup and more of an interaction to really try and point the finger at him as if it was truly him that was 100% supposed to be the bad guy. I think that the family talk interaction between Yaz and Dan could have been cut out in order to allow for that. I've always found family talk quite problematic and not great in Doctor Who. The only exception I've ever made was with series 4 of this new block with Donna Noble, version 1 of Donna Noble. Okay, not the nonsense that we got with the Star Beast, all right? One of the things that I like is the fact that Slade is keeping a tally on everyone. I think that could have been made a bigger deal out of. If he was being used as the deterrent for the bad guy, the red herring, the MacGuffin, the Doctor really does verbally bash Slade over the head, saying that he should be kind, implying that he isn't. So the extra push would have been great. That lecture that she gives him is what I would be considering a pretty standard thing for the Jodie Doctor. Now, what on earth was the Doctor doing in this? For the most part, the writing is making her sound somewhat intelligent, and one of my favourite bits was when she mentions being robophobic. The reason why I like that is because it's a reference to the Big Finish story Robophobia, all right? It's not necessarily preachy, I think it's just the reference to Robophobia, the story. But other than that, she was a little bit chaotically irresponsible, by the way. Was this originally written for Matt Smith? I do wonder if it originally was for Matt Smith because of the Fez moment, right? The message on the packing slip says help me, which I like because it ties in nicely with Doctor Who. However, it's not the Doctor who makes the decision to go, it's the companion. So she doesn't have agency. She is the one that is supposed to have complete agency. I feel like the Doctor should be the one that is making the decision and leading them into danger. Other than that little bit, the Doctor does have agency for the most part. But there's one thing that is really bugging me, like really, really bugging me. The Doctor is just standing there at the end whilst Charlie is activating the controller. There would have been ample amount of time to disarm him in that moment, but no. Oh no, she just stood there doing absolutely nothing. All doctors prior to her would have done something about it. It's bizarre. I don't know if it was a gap in the writing or like stunned silence from everyone. I don't know. But it's very out of character for the Doctor, including Jodie's. Jodie's does have a sense of action, no matter what people think of the Doctor, her version of the Doctor, there is a sense of action within her writing, but it didn't appear here at that present moment. It was a bit weird. I have some praise though for Jodie. Yeah. Goodness me, that's shocking. A lot of people say that she tries to emulate David Tennant a lot. Now, personally, I don't think I ever made that connection like 100%. I think that she didn't know what she was going to do with the Doctor because she didn't know what essentially the show was, and so she went in with more of a guns blazing than anything else. However, when she gives her speech towards the end, and for quite a few scenes after that, she pulled it back. It was calm. The energy was completely different. It wasn't gone. The energy was still there. She just gave it less. And, well, Jodie works on screen. She knows that less is more on screen. And it works better when she does that. That's the thing about performing for screen. Less is more. It really does work. The resolution was okay. I don't mind the idea that the Doctor makes it so that Twirly would change the addresses to the delivery bots and for them to detonate the bubble wrap. I also don't mind the idea that the computer tried to teach Charlie a lesson about humanity, even though technically a computer does not have any compassion whatsoever. Kira detonates the bubble wrap and she dies. That, as a concept, I don't make light of people dying or anything like that. That as a concept for a story, I don't mind. We all like to pop bubble wrap, don't we? At least I think we all do. The idea that we all pop bubble wrap from a delivery is a perfectly normal idea, except one big question. We see the Doctor, Ryan, and Kira all wrapping delivery items in the bubble wrap with the packing slip. The bubble wrap was on rollers where they would need to cut the bubble wrap. How did they not explode? Surely everyone in the packing should already be dead because of the bubble wrap. That's a pretty careless plot point to screw up, wouldn't you think? Also, I really like the idea of the employees going missing, but it doesn't register on the system, and that when it does, that causes everything to kind of descend into chaos. Creepiness wise and horror wise, this does quite a decent job, I would say, if you're just looking at, kind of in away from the fact that this is the Jodie Doctor. The Kerblam robots are quite like the Autons, but they are not. I think in the regards to the current Auton visuals from New Who, the Kerblam robots are a little bit creepier. They are much more sort of defined. They have quite chunky faces. Their eyes are also lighting up, which is good. It adds to it. I just wish that they played into my favourite part of the story a lot more, and that was when they attacked Charlie and tried to put a stop to him. That bit where they slammed him up against the wall. That bit was easily the best bit, followed by the remnants of the workers that had been detonated in this pool, and it was like goo. It was pretty gross, but a really good concept. Overall, the story is okay, but its one fundamental weakness is not allowing the robots to be the ones with the antagonistic agency to completely run amok and really put some fear into the story. But that's what I think. Please do let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Check out some of the other content I have picked out for you. Service returns to normal this week, so thank you very much for watching. I hope that you had a good new year, and I shall see you on Thursday. Bye bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.